So normally this would be bad news, but because of what's been happening all year, this may not be as bad as we thought. So Trump basically announced in the past day that they were going to have about 100% tariff on all semiconductors and chips. So normally you would think about that and you're thinking, well, Nvidia has been one of the biggest stocks over the past few years. And you also have AMD, you have TSMC, you have all these different ones out there that could be negatively affected by this. But because there's been so much tariff talk, it doesn't seem like people even care anymore. That's the weird thing about it. Let's look at TSMC, for instance. In the past 5 days since he said this, they're still up 1.65%. Let's look at, say, Samsung, up 3.31%. Let's look at Nvidia, up 4.28%. Texas Instruments, up 3%. Intel. Now, Intel's had some issues with their CEO, but that's a totally separate thing. And then AMD, they are down 1%. But generally, it doesn't look like the major semiconductor companies are being seriously affected by this announcement right now. Now, TSMC does have a US fab operation in Arizona, so that might help them. Samsung, for instance, does have some planned US manufacturing that could keep them from being super negatively affected by this, which obviously is the goal of this, is to have this technology manufactured more in the US instead of overseas. Nvidia is part of the Stargate US AI data center project, so that could help them either get some sort of exemption or just stay out of having a huge negative effect on their stock. And other companies like Texas Instruments also have manufacturing in the US as well, which could protect them. Now, Intel, for instance, even though they're an American-based company, they actually had some problems with their CEO, so it's kind of hard to get a real read on them right now because Trump literally just said that their CEO should step down.
First, let's start with Intel. Here was the president's exact wording on the Intel CEO. He said, "The CEO of Intel is highly conflicted and must resign immediately. There is no other solution to this problem."
So it's hard to tell how much of this weird stock action is because of that comment about the CEO or about this potential 100% tariff. Now, there are some exemptions tied to US manufacturing commitments, which again is the whole purpose of all of this. And the biggest companies, the ones where your stock would probably be in for semiconductor stocks, are seemingly adapting to this already and have been adapting to this for months and already figured out a game plan for if there is a major tariff like this one that they aren't necessarily exempt from. Now, as AMD being a fabless chip designer, basically they have partnerships with TSMC, Samsung, and others that actually have manufacturing facilities in the United States. So that could also help protect them as well. Again, they're down 1% in the past 5 days. But a lot of earnings calls just concluded for Q2, so that also could have an effect on why some of these stocks may still be down for a few days while they are seeing a ramp back up going into Q3. Just kind of like AMD looks right now. But this big V that we've seen for a lot of companies, especially just looking at the S&P 500 this year, this is kind of when all of this tariff stuff started. And then since then, pretty much any tariff announcement doesn't have that big of an impact anymore. It's almost like investors have already priced in potential tariff talk that could come in the future, and they're not even affected by it anymore because it's like the new normal now. So it's almost like even if we have 100% tariff on something else other than semiconductors announced in a week from now, people don't seem to really care anymore. We just seem to be like on our way to new all-time highs all the time. And if you look at these semiconductor stocks, they're all very similar. I mean, Samsung obviously operates a lot of different areas, but if you look at specifically like Nvidia, TSMC, you look at even Texas Instruments, Intel's had a really rough past year or two, but AMD, same type of thing, kind of a V shape. If you look at theirs this year, but overall up 43% now. But most of these, they seem to have all of this potential tariff stock priced in, so it doesn't seem like we really need to worry about our semiconductor stocks anymore, even if more tariffs are announced. It's almost like people are just saying, well, it's just Trump being Trump, just another day.